And the best life we're gonna have is if all our relationships are the best possible relationship they can be, rather than not so. And so we seek out good things in our lives. We want good connections. We want good family connections, good friend connections, good business connections, work connections, but especially a good partner connection. Now, the one we focus on the most, I think, is the partner, because we know that if it's a job, we can change jobs. And nowadays, we often do. If it's a career, same thing applies. Things tend to change more frequently in those areas these days. As we evolve, we're learning, we're growing. As far as family is concerned, that's the most consistent people that we have in our lives. And unfortunately, a lot of us are estranged from our families for one reason or another. However, that's supposed to be the most consistent. That's one of the topics I really want to talk about. Stop cutting people off. Stop blocking people. Like the creeps out there of the world are the exception to the rule, in my opinion. But we gotta stop all of the the loose ends that we have everywhere in our lives. Now, if we are like the internet suggests, like a big web, and we're just snipping and snipping and snipping away, it's not good for us because we damage the web, right? So I just don't think it's a good idea to cut people off. What, especially in our country, and I keep on going to the country thing because I think we have very unique issues here. Okay, some like no other place, I think, around the planet. Seriously, cutting people off. Okay, so that's the thing that we do, right? That's commonplace. That's this cancel culture, this ghosting culture, this way that we cut people off. And I want to say, stop it for real. It's not good for the family. And if you're concerned about generational wealth, if you're concerned about legacy, how then can you just cut people off? How then can you cancel people? How can you then just, well, ghosting is something different. You can ghost folks and not cut them off, so that's different a little bit. And some things are understandable, some things are necessary, like the creeps of the world, people who send you unsolicited pics, people who are bad for your mental health as far as like damaging, like it's a type of somebody gonna get a case situation. That's a situation where there has to be a cutting, where there's abuse and there is, that kind of thing. There's it's beyond a small situation. It's somebody who is damaged in a way that is, it's really like the implications of what they do is not small. And a lot of times these are strangers. But that's the biggest thing that I have to do myself is the creeps of the world who want to send me unsolicited pics. And I have to put them in the creep category because if I didn't ask for it, it's to each his own. Some people like that, but I think it's like somebody just punching you, walking up to you and just, going off on you. Like, where did that come from, right? And so, nah, no thank you. And as far as pics are concerned, you can't unsee something And so it's extra messed up when that happens. It's because you can't unsee something. And so I feel violated when that happens, and I haven't, and it makes you feel a little out of control because it like comes out of nowhere, right? And so I do understand in those situations because that person is showing, to me, is showing some kind of imbalance because what would make you do that, right? And so most of these are strangers, and so if you'll do that, what else will you do? That kind of thing. And so you cut off the damage before it spreads in that kind of case. And other than that, I really don't think there's, the other things are the similar cases. People that are so imbalanced that they're dangerous to themselves and you. A person who can come around your family and cause that you have to watch. Like if you ever had somebody come over and you got kids in the house and then you feel like you got to check on the kids every 5 minutes because of this person in the house, then that person is probably somebody you don't need around, because if you feel that way, there's a reason for that. And those kind of situations. But as far as everybody else, because you mad at somebody, because they pissed you off because you had an argument, because they did you wrong even, and it wasn't like, something in one of those two categories that I just said, that, you just push them to the side, to the box that they need to be in. But cutting off and canceling and severing ties with people who are your family, people that are your friends who you love, I think is not the answer. It's very damaging for what we say we want. And what we say we want is this legacy. And what we say we want is this family unit, this community. But we cutting people off left and right. And it's only, I think it's only a thing because of this culture that we in with technology. It's so quick to do that. It's easy to block somebody, and so that's what we do, and that's what is promoted even. And the cancel culture is even worse. Like, what other community is doing that? And you hear about it, but to me, it's in our community. We're canceling folks, which means we are damaging people who are maybe not related. You might not know them personally, but it's in our community. We're canceling folks who, if we want what we say we want, that's the opposite of what we want to do, because we want our community to do well. We want our community to be abundant. We want our kids to see lots and lots and lots of examples of doctors and lawyers and engineers and scientists and everything that you can imagine. Yet, because of somebody's opinion that we don't agree with, we're canceling them, or because they made a mistake, they were human, we're canceling them, or whatever the reason is. It's usually not a reason that's like dire. They didn't end somebody's life. They didn't hurt somebody. They were human and they made a mistake. They made a bad judgment. They chose, in a path that wasn't good for their lives. It usually affects their life. It's not even something that affects you personally, but you will go and cancel. And then it's a thing that's promoted. And so it's a movement behind destroying this person. But this is the person out your community that you say that you want good things for. And so it's the opposite of what we say we want when we do this. Cutting people off and canceling people. And what's left? What's left? To live in our selfish boxes, thinking about ourselves and only our immediate family, cut off from the rest of the world. Is that what we said that we wanted? Does that equal legacy? Does that equal generational wealth? Is that the family structure that we want to go forward toward? It's not what we say we want. And so I think it's really something we got to check. You know, just like everything else in our lives, it's going to be ebbs and flows. And it's all our relationships. You know, and it's interesting how we can have 18, 20 years in a household of all kinds of stuff happens. And we don't cut off our family. It's not until we get out into the world and we get influenced by all of this stuff around us that we want to even utter these words, even think about these things that are very damaging as a whole to us. And so it's interesting. I want to know what people think out there because it's something that I've been, you know, observing and everything, and I just think I focus more on our culture than, you know, the country in this case, because I think it's cultural. It's just us, and we have so many issues to overcome that's definitely that's opposite of what we say we want. We're supposed to be loving each other, forgiving each other, supporting each other, you know, lifting each other up as much as we can. Now, if we're not lifting each other up, then we're doing the opposite, right? And this is the thing. And so it's just the observation. And I think it's very damaging for our culture, and we need to cut it out. We need to stop. You know, we need to let people be human, just like we are allowed to be human, but people don't know about our skeletons, and so we're fine with that. But let a person who's in the spotlight have a skeleton fall out, then, oh, it's a wrap, right? But little do you know that, you know, your skeleton is a little bigger in your closet, but nobody knows about you and yours. And so it is just, you know, I think we just need to cut it out for the sake of what we say we want. And for our community, absolutely. Because there's no way we're going to get better doing that. I don't see how, because we're going to be too busy cutting people off and then stopping people's flow and damaging, you know what I mean? It's just like we're just doing the opposite all around. And so just some thoughts. I would love a conversation about it. Yeah. And I'm glad it's around. We around Thanksgiving time, because this is the time for gratitude. And I talk about gratitude all year round, and so it's I'm curious to see how many families are gonna get together this year. And no arms have to be twisted and things of that nature. It'll be awesome if families get together. You know, we don't celebrate it because of, you know, all of it's time off, and we take that time, we just use the time that is off. So it's not about all of the matrix stuff and all of that. We're just gonna use that time. We are gonna see our families. This is a long weekend, and don't go ahead and use it. At least, to love on yourself or love on your family. Then what you doing? So I'm curious to see, and a lot of people even don't even know all of that stuff anyway. So I'm curious to see how many families gonna actually be getting together, honestly, not just faking the funk type of thing, and how many people gotta, undo some damage that's been done because of the cutoffs and the cancelings and the, all of that. Yeah. But I'm looking toward a future of, togetherness. Of togetherness. When people make mistakes, they are, held accountable for their mistakes. So they're not made to feel like they are a subhuman person because they made a mistake or they made a bad choice. People who do things that we don't like and openly discuss it and have back and forth banter about it, and in mature ways that don't involve somebody having to end their whole everything because somebody didn't like what they said. And just people stop hating on each other and more love. How about if we see what happens if we love on each other the same way we give all that hate out? It'd be interesting to see. Anyway, just thoughts. But these are just thoughts right now.